what was prior to the Big Bang? What was going on before this? And ever since I was a kid, I've been told to not ask that question because it just doesn't make any sense or whatever. But I notice it is now being asked, and it's being asked by some very smart people. And I think that what they're doing is they're approaching something from the scientific level that same thing that I'm coming from here, is that this sense of being is not it. It is the last thing that consciousness, it is the only thing really that consciousness can know. Consciousness has a sense of being, or consciousness does not. Does that mean that consciousness is not there when there's no sense of being? Well, it means that there's no consciousness there in the sense that we normally think of things existing or not existing. But when we notice the sense of being, when we really begin to notice it, because it's fresh every time that we notice, and every time we open our eyes, or our mind clicks on, it's fresh. We can notice that it's comes with sort of a surprise, and that's the reason for the first story is I am. Because the truth, as far as we can go, is that there's a sense of being. And I am only comes after the uncorralled sense of being. The bodiless, timeless sense of being. But it is actually a surprise. There's a sense of being. And I can't even say to whom does that surprise occur. I just notice that there's something there that I cannot put my thumb on. There's something here that if you will, that I cannot understand, I cannot explain, I cannot even put my thumb on it. But there is a there-ness strongly sensed and weakly felt. It's felt only weakly. You can't come out directly and say there is no space. In the absence of spaciousness, then none of this, this could not be happening. This is happening within the confines of time and space. So that this is a dream unit talking to another dream unit within the confines of the dream. But the words are arising prior to from that which is prior to the dream. And that's known, but it's just, but I don't even know what that is, right? I mean, there's just a knowing. That's what there is. There's no known. There's just a knowing that there is something prior to this show. And the sense of being, it's really all about this, isn't it? It's about this show. And that's because in that regard, the sense of being and consciousness could be said to be the same. Nothing can be noticed in the absence of consciousness, which is nothing can be, you can't even notice the sense of being in the absence of consciousness, but you can't notice consciousness in the absence of the sense of being. So in order to be noticed, there's a difference between what is and what is beyond is or is not. And that's what I'm really speaking of. There's just a nebulous something. And something is a word too many, but what the hell are we going to say? It's something and nothing and everything. But what we really, really are in terms of language, if we're going to go to language, and we want to know what we really are, then what we really are is we are the great potential. And this too, I just, to my astonishment, I found this very sentence in a physics article, which is that we really are what we really are. There is the potentiality. There's the potentiality, the potential for all things. And this potentiality isn't a thing unto itself. It is the means by which it is that from which everything arises. Because there's the sense of potentiality, which is not the same thing as it's not a thing unto itself. We don't know what it is, but I can tell you, I can feel that sense of potentiality. That sense of potentiality can be felt by the sense of potentiality anytime it's noticed, and anytime it's stopped long enough to just test it. But this no thing is that from which everything arises, and it can only arise because of the no thing. I'll show you. This represents what is this cornucopia. Everything you can imagine is just spilling out of this container. And you can see the container itself is manifest. It is amazing. It's colorful. It's got a specific shape and everything. But the potentiality, if we were going to show it, it would have to be more like this, which is the empty cornucopia. Yes? And the empty cornucopia is that from which everything else arises. When I used to use this for a different reason, but I'll use it right now. And that's when we have the world, and as it is emptied, do we have more space than we had? Well, we do have more space than we had if we believe that these are things. But these are not things, these are appearances. And so there's not been a growth or a loss of spaciousness, whether it is appearing empty or full. So this is the fullness aspect. We will say, just because we don't have the right words. This is the full aspect of the fullness aspect of emptiness. And that which we cannot imagine, cannot see, but there's a knowing. That is the empty aspect of, it's really not quite just the empty aspect of this fullness. Because if I was really going to hold up what that empty cornucopia should look like, I should just be holding up a blank sheet. And that's about where I can go with that.